Alrighty, boys and girls, strap in, because your boy Leon's starting a new segment today. Leon's advice for dating in 2023. And this is for the men out there. I mean, ladies, you're welcome to watch too, but this advice is for you men. If you want to find the right girl, the right woman, and you want to date her and court her and eventually buy a house together, the white picket fence, get married, have 2.5 kids, here's how you do that. Don't listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, apparently. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and yes, a new poll finds that individuals who watch the Joe Rogan Experience are less desired by women. Let's see what this is all about, shall we? Millennial, Gen Z women find partners listening to Joe Rogan's podcast a red flag. Poll. Yes, it is amazing that they would consider this a red flag. A 3-hour-long podcast on average where the individuals are completely uncensored and unedited, that way there's no context lost, that very frequently has doctors and politicians and scientists of all, obviously these stand-up comedians, just basically all different people from all walks of life, men, women, black, white, all those other races, all those ages. Nope, apparently it's just it's too conservative, too much of a red flag for women out there. Let's see how they came to this conclusion. More than half of millennial and Gen Z women find it to be a relationship red flag if a partner listens to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast and refuses to see the Barbie movie, according to the results of a wide-ranging new poll that revealed that young women are overall more liberal than men. I don't know how much they spent to get this poll done, but I can tell you we didn't need a poll to find that out. That's been common knowledge for a very long time. It's also baffling to me to talk about how it's a red flag to watch the Joe Rogan Experience, and then refuse to see Barbie. You guys do know that Joe Rogan saw the Barbie movie, right? And, took his 2 daughters to see it because, believe it or not, the man has women in his life. And then also made fun of Ben Shapiro and the other right-wing chuds that were roasting the movie for being woke or whatever. Like, Ben Shapiro got roasted by Joe Rogan for making Barbie a cultural thing, and he took the side of Barbie. Like, how are you women upset that dudes won't go see Barbie, and then upset they listen to Joe Rogan, when if they were listening to Joe Rogan told them to go see Barbie? You guys don't even understand your own argument. Change Research, a Bay Area-based polling firm, no wonder it's going to have this sort of political lean. It's in the Bay Area. I mean, is there even such a thing as a right-wing Bay Area individual? I guess maybe it's just where the polling firm is based. It doesn't say that all the individuals are from the Bay Area, but it does say they surveyed 1,033 registered voters between the ages of 18 and 34 to ask them about their political leanings, dating preferences, the upcoming presidential election, the economy, and cultural trends. Now, 1,033, not exactly a very big sample size, and you have to take into consideration the fact that there is, over 300 million people in this country. But sure, let's just assume all this data is accurate based off barely over 1,000 people. The research revealed that 55% of women found it a turnoff for a partner to listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, while 53% said it was off-putting for a love interest to refuse to see Greta Gerwig's summer blockbuster Barbie. I find it interesting that they don't have, like Oppenheimer in here, or maybe there's other reasons individuals don't want to see Barbie. Like, I don't know why this was listed as one of the things that is, cultural in nature. Yeah, the movie's made over $1 billion, so I guess you could call this a cultural trend, but Joe Rogan and Barbie, they ain't exactly the same thing. One is a really big movie. The other one is, and we all know this is true, the most famous podcast in the world, the biggest podcast in the world. If 55% of women are turned off by the fact that people are listening to the biggest podcast in the world, then ladies, you're gonna need to do some statistical analyses, because that doesn't make sense. It's not as if it got to be the biggest because it caters to one demographic. If it's the biggest in the world, that means it's being listened to by everyone and their grandmother. It doesn't matter their race, their creed, their sexual orientation, their income, the whole nine. It's the biggest because it's doing something right. So if you find 55% of women find it to be a turnoff, that just means they're the morons. The biggest red flag for young women, however, was for a potential partner to identify as a MAGA Republican, with more than 3/4, 76%, of those polled admitting this would make them want to run for the hills. Now, to be fair, once again, we gotta remember, this came from the Bay Area. These are probably a lot of fat, slovenly bitches who had to get on their motorized scooter and scoot for the hills, not really run for the hills. Other notable red flags among women are partners who have no hobbies, say all lives matter, and say there are only 2 genders and they are so unbothered they never ask for details. Women cannot stand the fact that dudes just aren't bothered by things. Like, would you really want a partner who gets bothered by everything or bothered by nothing? I would easily take bothered by nothing, because the partners that get bothered by everything, they start drinking a lot, throwing hands. It gets real tiring real quick. But The no hobbies, I get that. Why would you want to date an individual with no hobbies? Like, what you got in common if they don't like to sit there and play PS2 with you, or if they don't want to go to the movies with you, or if they don't want to go on nature hikes, or whatever it is that you guys do. So yeah, no hobbies, that makes sense. And I guess the MAGA thing also kind of makes sense. Like, I don't like political extremists on either side of the aisle, and that is what, a lot of MAGA people at least are perceived to be, is political extremists, just people that can't shut the hell up about their ideology. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be around someone that doesn't want to shut up one way or the other about it either. I get it. Here's the actual breakdown from, Change Research. They identify as MAGA Republican. 76% of women find it a red flag. 59% of men find it a red flag. So you know what? Men are a lot more agreeable than the women in this particular instance. Still pretty high number either way. They have no hobbies. 66% of women and 60% of men. This is about the closest, or one of the closest you're going to find on this poll. But what's really interesting here is that means there's about 40% of men and 40% of women who don't care if you have no hobbies. Those individuals are psychopaths. You definitely don't want to be around those. Like, if you're around somebody who is not bothered by the fact that, they've got no hobbies, that is psycho, and you need to get out of there immediately. Their lampshades might be made of human skin. Here we have them saying all lives matter. 60% of women find this a red flag, only 41% of men, because the other, 59% of men, we don't care. There's more pressing things going on than saying whether all lives matter or not. Like, yeah, maybe this, 59% of men are nihilistic and they believe that no lives matter. So it's not a red flag. I don't know. You definitely see a big disparity here. And it's because men are more individually centered and women are more collectivist. But having that more collectivist mentality actually makes them not like the all lives matter saying, because it takes out the Black Lives Matter symbolism. There's a lot to break down there, and this would be a much longer video, but the point is, I can see this one. This one makes sense. They say there are only two genders. Here's another big gap. 58% of women find this to be a red flag, which means 58% of women are retarded. The other, 42% of y'all right. Only 34% of men find this to be a red flag. So, men are the obvious winners here, because yes, that means there is a flat out 66% of individuals who are like, 66% of individuals who know that, this is true. Objective truth. Science. It works. Good job, 66% of men. You 34% of the men that also see this as a red flag, I'm sure you get pegged by your girlfriend, boyfriend, they, them, friend, whatever. It is what it is. I understand. They are so unbothered they never ask for details. 58% of women find this to be a red flag. 42% of men find this to be a red flag. Once again, decent disparity there. Now, this is the funniest one to me. Actually, the second funniest. We'll get to the funniest in a sec. They identify as a communist. Now, this bothers 55% of women. And just so you know, you women, I'm proud of you for that. Work on being upset about only two genders, but I'm proud of you for the communist thing, at least. But it bothers 64% of men. 64% of dudes believe that identifying as a communist, is a red flag. And you want to know what this means? Dudes know history better than women. And those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it, which is why we probably shouldn't have a woman president, at least not until we can get this communism thing sorted out. Listen to Joe Rogan. 55% of women find this to be a red flag. Only 35% of dudes, pretty much the same as identify as conservative. 54% women, 35 dudes. Once again, guys just seem more amicable. When you read this poll, it's very clear here that men are just more amicable. They're more open to people being free to be themselves and not be turned off by people being themselves. Like, that's actually pretty incredible. People want to talk about how men are, they're so dumb, big dumb animals. Women, they're so complicated. I don't know. To me, it looks like that might actually be true. Men definitely aren't complicated. They're just like, yep, you do you and don't bother me, and I'll still find you attractive. Like, hey, can you smash and demolish hot wings, play Mortal Kombat relatively decently, and look good in a bikini? What? Those three things? You all right, boom. In love. Like, it's very simple for a man, and women make this far too complicated. Again, if we're going to believe this poll, I'm just going off the data, ladies. They refuse to see the Barbie movie. That is a red flag for over half of women, 53%, and only a red flag for, 30% of men. They don't care about politics. 50% of women find this to be a red flag. A woman just flip a coin, and depending on what it comes up, depends on if she's going to be upsetty spaghetti that you don't like politics. So, like, ladies, if we about to go on a date, let me know up front how important politics are to you, because if you are not willing to have, be around people with different opinions or be around people that don't care about politics one way or the other, yeah, we got a problem. This ain't going to work out. And frankly, if we do still make it to the date, we're going fitty-fitty on the nachos because you're probably some sort of communist or collectivist and you believe that everything is for everyone. So I'm not paying full price. So just so we're square on that. Dudes, on the other hand, 29% of guys find a red flag not to care about politics. That means that 71% of guys find it to be a green flag, or at least they're not a red flag. They don't care if you don't care about politics. Dudes are so much more amicable than women, according to this poll. It is insane. Men are so easygoing by these numbers that all the problems in the dating scene right now, all the issues in relationships, almost exclusively have to do with women being too uptight, too wound for sound. If we're going off these numbers, ladies, check yourself. The problem, it's N-word. N-word, I-N-W-A-R-D, not N-word like, Black Lives Matter. Just making sure we're clear there. My favorite, though, is they are into astrology. This is a red flag for 20% of women, but this is a red flag for 41% of dudes, and I get it. I've been there. Astrology's not real. Ladies, astrology's not real. The stars aren't telling you your future, and if they are telling you your future, why are you still driving a 92 hatchback and still working as a cashier? Like, explain to me that the stars are guiding your future, why you got a dead-end job and 2 kids after your first, like baby daddy or whatever left you. It's because they're either doing a really shit job or they don't care about you. They really don't. They care about you less than said baby daddy who left you. So men out there, on the other hand, 41% of men that find this to be a red flag. Let's pump that number up. It should be closer to 99%. Astrology ain't real. Anyway, let's continue past these statistics. I thought they were fun, but let's get to the rest of the article. When it comes to millennial and Gen Z men, the biggest turnoff was a potential date identifying as a communist, with almost 2/3 of the young men surveyed signaling it as a red flag. However, more than half, 59%, also agreed it was off-putting for a partner to identify as a MAGA Republican. Again, both those to me makes perfect sense. Can't argue there. Other major turnoffs for men include having no hobbies, being interested in astrology, based men. Get that number up. Oh, you'll love it. And saying Black Lives Matter. And then, look at this. Nice picture of Joe Rogan here. The evil Joe Rogan that women hate so much because he talks for a living. As for green flags and partners, 95% of women and 91% of men want a partner who reads. And this does make sense, because if you're taking a girl out, if you're taking your significant other out to a nice fancy restaurant, you want to make sure they're literate so they can read the menu. Women also favor would-be romantic partners who research the best deals before buying, say Black Lives Matter, look better in person, take candid pictures, and identify as liberal. Well, looky. I want somebody who looks better in person, and I am a bit of a shutterbug. But beyond that, yeah, women want soy boys. Like, that's what this is saying, is that women want soy boys. And here we are in a bit of a trouble spot, because if women and men cannot come together, then that's the end of the human race. We're done. No more babies getting pumped out. It means the world keeps spinning, but humans go extinct. I like living too much. I don't want that. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating quite a bit here, but the point is, if women cannot, take into account that individuals, that dudes are going to have different thoughts, different opinions, and then be okay with that. Like, no, you must identify as liberal. You must say things like Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry, you're starting to cut your pickings real slim here, because it looks like by this poll, the majority of dudes don't hold those beliefs. So there's an incongruence. You need to figure out how to set those differences aside and be okay with them, because not everyone is going to share everything ideologically with you. If you got a significant other and they have different opinions than you on like abortion and what you're going to do with taxes, then just vote differently when you go into the booth and then don't talk about it afterwards. Like, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. So, I don't know, those are just my thoughts. Maybe stop making everything about politics and think about like how you feel with one another when you're spending time together out in nature, or when you're playing Mortal Kombat together, or whatever your interests are. That is going to be far more important than any political belief you hold, so long as it's not something that like is unequivocally morally disgusting one way or the other, which both the right and the left have some pretty egregious moral stances on a few key issues. But barring those, you should be fine. Unplug from the politics a little bit. Other green flags among men include partners who prefer cow milk over non-dairy milk. I mean, let's be real, cow milk is absolutely better. Non-dairy milk isn't even fucking milk. And are not on social media and identify as conservatives. So yes, dudes want women who identify as conservative. Women want men who identify as liberal. Do you guys see the problem here? This is a much bigger article, and you guys can check it out yourselves. It actually is incredibly interesting. I do really recommend it, which I don't normally do at the end of my videos, but since it's such a long article and we've already been going so long, I am going to cut it here. I do want to know your guys' thoughts, though. I do find it wild that men and women have such varying opinions when it comes to this sort of thing. Is this about what you expected? I mean, yeah, obviously I expected dudes to skew a bit more to the right, but I did not expect this level of difference, except about the astrology thing. That one was pretty easy to believe. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and while this one today wasn't particularly nerdy, I think that it does have a lot to say when, individuals, both men and women, of which nerds account for, because there are real nerdy women out there. They're not all fake, gamer girl e-thoughts on Twitch or whatever. For the real nerd girls out there who might be watching this video, yeah, I think this is very important, because if we cannot come together, live in harmony, have different opinions, the whole nine, yeah, sorry, the human race sort of stops, and your boy doesn't want to see that happen. I just saw nerds starting to thrive within the last decade or so thanks to the MCU. It would be a shame for humanity to fizzle out now. Granted, we peaked when Jak 2 came out on the PlayStation 2, but that doesn't mean we don't deserve a second chance. Until then, please do subscribe, and it's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.